Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. Here we are, another Thursday. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast. It's 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning in London at 1 a.m. And it's also Friday morning in Tokyo, Japan at 9 a.m. And everyone's having their breakfast. But I think it's a little bit too early to have breakfast in London at this particular time. I think most people are probably asleep or just coming in, whatever. Anyway, welcome once again. It's another edition of Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan. We're coming to you live directly from New York City. That's where we originate. And we come to you each week. And of course, when we come to you, we bring you a little fun and entertainment. Hopefully it's a little fun. And for those of you who are brand new to the show, we like to welcome you in. And those of you who are just joining us for the first time, the purpose of the show is to get everybody involved, including you. Now, just because you're new, you're just as good as anyone else. You come in and you enjoy it. And all you have to do is, if you want to say something in particular, because of the name of the show is called Talk Back Live, we can do that for you. Now, as usual, as the host of the show, I get the ball rolling. I start the conversation, get things moving. And in between all of that, you can chime in anytime you like. You could use your keyboard, and you could use a keyboard on your computer, your cell phone, or your tablet. Type whatever you want to say. I'll see you right there on a big screen. I will entertain you. I'll say hi to you. And if there's something in particular you like to talk about as a topic, we will certainly inject that in. We'll answer that, and we'll talk about all of that together. Or even if you just want to say hi, you could either talk to people too that are also in the room coming in. And that's why we call it Talk Back Live. It's free exchange of opinions and ideas. And of course, we do all of our regular things in conjunction with talking to you. But first off, I'd like to say that we come from 3 different places. We're on the air from 3 different places. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And so all you have to do is pick one of those, whatever you like, and whatever you want to talk about, we'll be right here for you in all of those areas. All of those areas, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're right there, and we're live. And those of you who are watching us on Facebook, and just for the benefit of people who are new, we want you to take the time to tag all of your friends. Maybe not all of them, maybe you have more friends than you can handle, but maybe you have a select amount of friends that you want them to join the show. All you have to do is just tag this show to them. They will see that notification if they're online. And all they have to do, they'll know it's from you. They'll click onto that notification, and guess what? It brings them directly to us. And so they'll see you, me, and everyone here. And so they can join in the conversation as well. And if they like what they see and hear, maybe they'll become regulars just like you. If you're watching us on YouTube, we always encourage you to go onto our YouTube channel and subscribe. Why? Because not only will it make you a full-fledged member, and you'll get to know whenever we come on the air live, and you can tell all your friends about it as well. We have that, so whenever we come on the air live, or even if we post a video of some sort, you'll see the notification, and all you have to do is click onto the notification. It brings you directly to the Facebook page, or the YouTube channel, I should say, and that's all there is to it. All right. Now, a lot of people will say, okay, you know what? I'm online, I'm doing something, but they forget about the show. And that's the beauty about subscribing to the YouTube channel. You may be online doing something, and, all of a sudden a pop-up will come up and it'll say, Frank Allan, Talk Back Live on the air. And you'll say, oh my God, I forgot all about it. But it's right there. Just click on, and it'll bring you right to us. All right. Just as simple as that. And for those of you who are on Instagram, we just urge you to tell all your friends about it. Keep following us and keep that word percolating. Okay. That's all it is. And it's just as simple as that. Now, in conjunction with the show and interacting with you, we also do our regular routines right here. For instance, within this half hour, not too far away, We have sports update. Now, Brian Camp is normally with us. He's not going to be with us tonight or today or tomorrow, wherever your time zone is. He's not going to be with us today. He's taking an early weekend, so he won't be with us today, but he will be back next week. But in the meantime, he have left us some sports update news, which we will relay to you in just a few minutes from now. And that's all coming your way in just a few minutes on Sports Update. What else do we have? Oh, yes. This day in history. We have all of that news that comes up. We do that. We do our research throughout the week and find out what's happening on this day in history. And we will bring that information to you. Anything, events or birthdays or whatever happened on this day in history, we're going to recite all of those for you. That's coming right up. And of course, later on, before the show is over, we will bring you those famous Turner Classic movies, those movies that you all like, right? You love those classic movies, right? Now, what I do each week is I bring you my picks of the week for the weekend. Now, a lot of you, in conjunction with doing whatever you do on the weekend, maybe you want to follow up on some old movies that you missed or maybe want to catch up with. I just want to add those movies to that bucket list of movies to watch for this weekend for you. So all of that's coming up. It's all right here. And then it's you and I against the world, all together right here. So keep things rolling. Remember Facebook, tag your friends, bring them all in. And of course, we really appreciate that. The more, the merrier. And here we are, another Thursday. And in New York, it's been a pretty good week here in New York weather-wise. In the beginning, we had some warm weather. Especially over last weekend, you know, the weather was nice and warm, and it's kind of falling back a bit. But, you know, tomorrow is Friday here in New York, and the weather's going to go somewhere around 71 degrees, somewhere in that area. So it goes back. It's going to fluctuate before it stays stable. And so when we're spring now and the summer months come around, it'll get warmer. And then you'll be ready for the beach. You're not ready for the beach yet. You may think you are, but you're not ready for the beach yet. People have been shedding their clothes, and when the weather got cooler, now they have their coats and their jackets back on. All right. So when it comes to this weather, that kind of weather, please do things in stride. You know, you don't want to overdress when it's a little warmer, and you don't want to underdress, you know, when it's colder. So you want to do things moderately. Take it easy. Take your time. Slowly but surely peel, like you're slowly peeling a banana. Slowly but surely peel, and try to prevent those colds, because it's a good way to catch cold. It's what I call the got you segment. You know, it's warm weather. The weather did fine by you, but all of a sudden you have the sniffles and the sneezes. Got you. So we don't want that to happen to us. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you haven't caught up on your shots, whatever they are, particularly the COVID-19 shots, catch up on that, catch up and stay healthy. That's what we ask you to do. So we'll look forward to summer. We'll look forward to all kinds of things that are happening this summer. Well, speaking of news, right? Now, we're not a news station, we know that, but we bring you certain events that happen, certain events of the day. We like to talk about it sometimes. And of course, so when we start talking about these things, if you break in with something else, we'll do that too. We'll wrap up what we do, but we want to make sure that we get the understanding of what we're trying to put out here. And then we'll go to whatever you want to talk about. In the entertainment world today, all right, well, not necessarily today, but in the entertainment world, and this man I didn't know him personally, but I knew him because I used to play his records when I was a jazz disc jockey. Ahmad Jamal, measured maestro of the jazz piano, died last Sunday. A lot of you who are jazz lovers, you know who he is. Ahmad Jamal, one of the best in the business of jazz. And he died Sunday afternoon in Ashleyville, Massachusetts, after a battle with prostate cancer. And he was 92 years old. Now, I'm an big advocate of prostate cancer, because I know I talk to men and make sure that they are always proactive about their health. And of course, men should take care of themselves in that department, because you never know when it's going to happen. I, as a a survivor of prostate cancer know that and can tell the story. And that's why it's always nice to tell other men about your situation, and then hopefully they'll be proactive about this situation. But listen, he was 92 years old. 92 years old, that's a pretty ripe age. Well, not pretty much a ripe age, but that's a long time to live. And I'm pretty sure he lived a full life. So we want to send out all our condolences out to him and his family. His daughter confirmed this information this week too, by the way. We're so touched by the news, especially I am, because as I said, I used to play his records on the radio. And so our blessings to his family too. Also, the news that I got today, but this happened early in the week. Monday, the singer April Stevens, I don't know if you remember April Stevens. She was born Caroline Venezzi, and Caroline Venezzi Lotempio. That's how you spell the last name. Caroline Vincent Lotempio. That's a lot of tongue twister right there. Anyway, to make a long story short and make it easier, she was under the name of April Stevens. April Stevens died Monday in Phoenix, Arizona at the age of 93 years old. April Stevens, by the way, if you don't know who she is, a lot of you who may be my age and maybe just a wee bit younger, remember back in the 60s when she did a song called Deep Purple with her brother Nino Tempo. And that was a big hit back in the 60s, Deep Purple. And she also was famous for other few hits, like I'm in Love Again, Give Me a Little Kiss, Will You Ha? That was the name of it, Will You Ha? And Teach Me Tiger, which was one of my favorite tunes by her. And so she passed away this Monday, and we're going to miss her. She died at the age of 93 years old. You see, these people live a long time. And 92 years old for Ahmad Jamal and 93 years old for April Stevens. So there you have it. There you have it. So we want to send our best wishes out to April Stevens' family, and especially her brother, Nino Temple. They were a duo. Now, Nino Temple, not only did he sing with her, but he also was a musician in his own right. He played the saxophone, and I think he was also a writer too. I can't remember her offhand, but we want to send all of that out. Okay, and I'm pretty sure by now you heard all of the bad news. I don't know. I often wonder when it's going to stop. When are we going to stop? And I'm going to take a little time. I might run into sports a little later, but I got to get this out. Kansas City, Missouri, and you know all about it. If you didn't know him then, you know him now by the name of Ralph Ural. Ralph Ural, a black 16-year-old teen was shot by a white 84-year-old homeowner by the name of Andrew Lester. You heard that story, right? Ralph Ural went up to pick up his siblings, and he knocked on the wrong door. He went to pick up his siblings were twins at 11 years old. He's 16 years old, so he went to pick them up, but he went to the wrong door, and Andrew Lester shot him. And Andrew Lester turned himself in and pleaded not guilty to first-degree assault and armed criminal action. And then he was released on $2,000 bond. And I saw the footage in the news, how he walked in the courtroom. I don't know, I can't say it was an act. I'm not going to even go there. But he was walking very slowly, walking with a cane, but yeah, he's out on bail. And thank God, Ralph is doing good. Ralph is back home now. He was in the hospital for a while, but he's back home with his family. And he's recovering. And his father posted a photo. He released a photo that I saw in the news too, of him and his son sitting together. So his son looks really great. And thank God that the bullet didn't go as far as it already did. because it would have been a different story and we would have been having a different conversation about this. So we send our regards out to him. I'm glad that he's fine, but the point is, it's the guns. Hey, listen, let's go upstate to New York State. The 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis, she was shot by accidentally driving into a wrong driveway. Now, she was with a bunch of her friends. She was in the car, but she was a passenger in the car. Her girlfriend was the driver. And I think there were four of them together. I don't know. I can't remember how many they were, but they drove up to the wrong driveway, right? They drove up to the wrong driveway. And 65-year-old Kevin Monahan fired 2 shots from his porch. 2 shots. They accidentally drove up to the driveway. 2 shots. And he goes to court. He pleads not guilty to murder. Yes, I said murder because Kaylin Gillis is dead now. And so he pleads not guilty to the murder. All right. Well, who fired the shot? Anyway, he faces second-degree murder charges. That's what he has against him right now. And he's still in jail. They didn't release him. He's still in jail right now. So we're going to see what the outcome is of that. It's just too many killings. And that's not all. High school cheerleader Peyton Washington and 3 other friends were shot at a nearby parking lot outside a grocery store. And a stranger, they didn't know this person. Washington right now is still recovering in ICU, and she's talking, she's breathing on her own, which is good news. I'm glad of that. And she's even FaceTiming her friends. And so that's good. Now they have a competition going on this weekend, but she can't be there. But the girls are going to do one for the Gipper for her. All right. And all they did was accidentally approach the wrong car. They just approached the wrong car. And in that wrong car was a man by the name of Pedro Tello Gonzalez Jr. And when they approached that car, he just got out of the car and just opened fire. And I guess they hit all of the girls. How many? There were like 4 girls. But Peyton is in the hospital right now. So anyway, Tello, whatever his name is, Pedro Tello Gonzalez Jr. Was arrested for the incident, and this happened in Texas. I can't remember if it was Austin, Texas or Elgin, Texas. I have Elgin, Texas here, but probably somewhere around Austin she lived. I don't know. And you think, and I'm not finished. I am not finished. In North Carolina, let's go there. Here's another news. You probably heard this today. A 6-year-old girl by the name of Kinsley White and her parents were shot. And they were only trying, they got shot. She got shot, the girl got shot. But I guess she was only grazed because you could see the blood clot on the side of her face. I guess where the bullet just passed. It looked like it was a graze, but that's not the point. Shot a little girl, 60 years old. And only because of the fact they were trying to retrieve a basketball that rolled into a nearby yard, which happens to be the yard of the person who made the shooting. Now, the dad is still in the hospital. The man at large is identified as Robert Singletary, and he's considered armed and dangerous. They're trying to track him down now. I don't know. I think he lived next door, or maybe he made a big escape or whatever it was. But they're trying to track him down. I haven't heard any news since then, whether or not they found him, but believe me, they'll find him. And they said this guy was totally off the wall. He yelled at kids, he threatened to kill them, and he just went out, got his gun, and just shot. All because they were trying to retrieve a ball that went into his yard. It happens, kids play. The ball goes into someone else's yard. It happens all the time. And the only thing that you have to do is talk to the parents and say, look, your kids are on my lawn. If you could just tell them not to play in front of my house, I just cut my grass or whatever it is, But they said that he approached the kid. The kid is only 6 years old. Now, I just mentioned 4 people here. All of these 4 people were victims of a bullet. And gee, when is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? But the only thing people are thinking about right now are their guns. You know, it's a free for all. It's like it's the Wild Wild West at the OK Corral. You know, and I am sorry for the one that got killed. That's Kaylin Gillis. She's the only one that didn't survive so far. She's the only one that didn't survive so far. Ralph survived. Ralph Euro survived. So far, as I said, Peyton Washington is in the hospital. She's responding very well. She's still on the intensive care unit. And of course, the young 6-year-old girl, Tinsley White. You know, and you know, it seems like every oh God, it's almost like on a daily basis when we get these mass shootings coming along. And you know, instead of people, you know, reacting, because people are tired of talking about it. I am tired of talking about it. I hear news anchors on the air saying, you know, I'm so fed up. I am so tired of this. Not that they're tired of their jobs. They love their jobs, but it's the same thing every day. It's the same story every day. If it's not mass shooting, it's some stupid act that a politician did or something, whatever it is. It's the same old story. And it's boring to these people. And I don't want to have to come here another week and say any more about mass shootings. I did last week, the week before, you know, and it's just getting out of hand. But Lindsey Graham, you know, he doesn't care. You know, here's a guy that goes out and starts boo-hooing for Donald Trump. You know, this is unfair. We want to raise some money for this man. You know, send your money to lindseygraham.com. I don't get the money, but he'll get the money. You know, but he's crying like a baby. But I don't hear him crying for these kids that I just mentioned. I don't hear him crying for the 9 kids. The 9-year-old kids that were shot up in school. He didn't cry for those 3 adults that were working at that school, but he's crying for someone that's not even worth even talking about. Get him money. You know, if he's such a billionaire, then why doesn't he get his own money? You get tired a while, you know, something has to be done around people saying, well, you know, you don't have to talk about it. It's your show. You don't have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. You know, even if we're tired of talking about it, we have to talk about it until it penetrates. And I don't know how long that's going to take. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. We're a little over time. It's 22 minutes past the hour right now. And just in case you're just joining us, we're coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And usually at this time, we have sports. Brian Camp is not with us, so we're going to move on. He sent us information a little bit about sports, so we're going to relay all of that to you right now. Let's get started right now. Talk about Major League Baseball. The New York Mets versus the San Francisco Giants. They're set for 4 games, for a 4-game series, and only key matchups. All you have to do is check your local listings for that. Okay, and in the NBA, it's just about the same. NBA playoffs continue. This evening, you can check your local listings on ESPN, NBA TV, and TNT for scheduling time. And for the NFL, here's some good news for a change. NFL, just over 3.5 months ago, as you already know, after suffering a cardiac arrest, Damar Hamlin collapsed. As you already know that story, he collapsed and he laid on a football field in Cincinnati and sat in a Buffalo Bills facility, and now officially announced his plan to making a comeback on the NFL after being fully cleared to return to playing football. But the remarkable achievement of going from suffering a cardiac arrest on national TV to returning to workouts with his teammates is just the next chapter in Hamlin's journey. And so we're looking forward to that. His doctor cleared him. So, and he looks good. He looks good. He made that announcement. And I'm sure things are going to be taken in stride. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a little nervous when he sets back on the field, because all of that is going to be in the back of his mind. But his doctors cleared him. And so he's going to go back to playing. And I look forward to seeing him. And I'm pretty sure between his doctors, his trainers, and everyone behind him, they're going to do the right thing and make sure that he's in tip-top shape. And so far, he is. Okay. This day, April 20th, that's this day, April 20th, back in 1912, Fenway Park officially opens and the Boston Red Sox defeated the New York Highlanders, who are now the New York Yankees. They defeated them 7-6. And on that day in 1912, Tiger Stadium in Detroit opens and Tiger defeats the Cleveland Indians back when they called them the Cleveland Indians back in and they beat them 6-5. And on that day in 1916, in Chicago, they were known back then as the Chicago White Cubs, and they played their first game in Weigman Park, which is turned to Wrigley Field, and they defeated Cincinnati Reds 7-6. And in 1943, Braves manager Casey Stengel was struck by a taxi and fractured a leg. 1944, NFL legalizes coaching from the bench. In 1986, Michael Jordan sets NBA playoff records with 63 points in a game. And 1990, Pete Rose pled guilty to hiding $300,000 in income tax. Ouch, ouch. Speaking of income tax, I hope that you filed yours or got an extension. Okay, birthdays. In 1961, Don Mattingly, New York Yankee great and former manager, was born on this day. In Elvinsville, Indiana, in 1971, Allan Houston, an NBA guard of the New York Knicks, was born in Louisville, Kentucky on this day. On April 21st, which will be tomorrow, celebrating, let's see, which will be tomorrow, here's a little history, 1925, no baseball games played due to Charles Edward's funeral. Now, Charles Edward's Field was named after Charles Edward, but due to his funeral, they didn't play that year. In 1967, Dodgers' first rainout in Los Angeles after 737 consecutive games. In 1989, George W. Bush and Edward W. Rose become joint CEOs for the Texas Rangers. In 1990, National League umpire is arrested for stealing baseball cards. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Brian more about that one. Okay, and birthdays. Another birthday here, 1951. Now, you may ask, what does Tony Danza, the actor, has to do with sports? Well, Tony Danza was a boxer, so that has to do with sports. Anyway, he's a boxer, actor. He played on Taxi and Who's the Boss, and he celebrates his birthday. He was born 1951, and he was born in my hometown of Brooklyn, New York. Happy birthday, Tony Danza. And in weddings, as far as weddings are concerned, 1991, Olympic gold winner Bruce Jenner, who is now Caitlyn Jenner, weds Kris Kardashian in Bel Air, California. And that's this day in sports, as Brian would say. On this day in sports. Okay, we got so many things happening in the sports world. We got baseball. Baseball is already in full gear. And of course, your favorite teams, whoever you're rooting for, are out there and they're doing their best. They're going to do their best. And if they're not doing what you want them to do right now, just keep in mind that this is only the beginning of the season, of the baseball season. It's only the beginning of the baseball season right now. So fret not, everything will be fine. It's only just the beginning. Okay, we want to thank Brian so much for passing that along to us, sports. Brian, normally here at this time for sports updates, so that ends sports update. Brian, normally here for the 2020 feature tomorrow on the coffee hour. He's going to be off tomorrow too, so we're going to do the 2020 feature for him, 20 past the hour for sports. And while I'm at it, 22 the hour, the second half of the 2020 feature, DJP will be here, and he will bring us information on entertainment and reciting all of those birthdays of people of notoriety. The name of the show is called Talk Back Live, and if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you once again, we have a half hour on the show to go. We just ate up a half hour. It's hard to believe. But while we're here, we want you to tag all of your friends. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, tag your friends right now and bring them in. And so if you desire to talk to us, we'll be glad to have you aboard with us. And if there's anything that you want to talk about as far as topics are concerned, what we just talked about, the mass shootings and all of that stuff, which we hope that at some particular point, we don't have to talk about mass shootings anymore. But anything else that you want to talk about, even if it's sports, we have the answers here. If I don't have the answers, I will certainly get the answers, and I will get them from Brian, but it's all here. And again, as I said, later on in the program, we are going to bring you those movies, those picks of the week, our movies coming up, and that's all coming up later on in the program. So we thank you so much for being along with us. Okay, it's that time, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, on this day in history, we talk about that, and let's go back to 1935 on this day in history. Your hit parade begins broadcasting and becomes number one, and it becomes number one quickly. Those of you may not be old enough to remember Your Hit Parade. It was a radio show with all kinds of talent. On this day in history, 1940, the first RCA electron microscope was demonstrated in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On this day in history, in 1941, 100 German bombers attacked Athens. On this day in history, in 1966, WDCA TV, Channel 20 in Washington, D.C., an independent station, begins broadcasting. Back in 1971, the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, upholds the use of busing to achieve racial desegregation. Back in 1981, the final performance of the TV show Soap airs. Also in 1981, Papa John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas, who no longer is with us, he was he was arrested for drug possession. In 1983, President Reagan signs a $165 billion bailout for Social Security. And let's see, on this day in history, in 1992, the 100th episode of the sitcom Murphy Brown was aired. Back in 1992, Madonna signs a $60 million deal with Time Warner. Back in 1993, Mercury Nashville Records releases Shania Twain, the debut studio album by Shania Twain. In 2021, former police officer Derek Chauvin, remember him? He was convicted of the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis in a case that prompted a huge nationwide racial justice protest. In 1908, jazz musician Lionel Hampton was born on this day in Louisville, Kentucky. He died 2002. And 1920, Robert F. Wagner Jr., was once the mayor of New York City, was born here in New York City. And he died in 1991. And back in 1923, Latin jazz band leader Tito Puente was born here in New York City as well, and he died the year 2000. And so it goes. And Tito Puente, by the way, was a very, very good musician. He was one of the king of Latin music. And I used to love his music. We used to, as a kid, listen to his music late at night in the park. Everybody had their transistor radios and their big radios, and we used to listen to his music. In the park, there was a disc jockey by the name of Dick Ricardo Sugar, who was like the only disc jockey that played Latin music at that particular time. And he had a high profile show. He turned out later on, him and I turned out to be friends. He's no longer with us, but yeah, that's how it was. Okay. Actor George Takei, you know George Takei of Star Trek. He was born on this day in 1937, and he was born in Los Angeles, California. He's 85 years old today. In 1938, singer-songwriter Johnny Tillotson, who was known for that big hit back in the 60s called Poetry in Motion, 1961 to be exact. He was born on this day in Jacksonville, Florida. He's 85 years old today. Happy birthday. And back in 1941, actor Ryan O'Neal was born in Los Angeles, California. He's 82 today. In 1945, actor Michael Brennan, or Brandon, I should say, was born in Brooklyn, New York, and he's 78 years old today. Actress Jessica Lange was born on this day in 1949 in Cloquet, Missouri, or I should say Cloquet, Minnesota. She's 74 years old today. Back in 1949, actress Veronica Cartwright was born in Bristol, England. She's 74 years old today. In 1951, singer Luther Vandross was born in New York City. He died in 2005. Actress Carmen Electra was born on this day in 1972 in Sharonville, Ohio. She's 51 years old today. Happy birthday to her. 1976, actor Joey Lawrence, who is known for his stint on Give Me a Break, Blossoms, and Summer Rental. He was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's 47 years old today. In 2006, actor and writer Charlie Shanian was divorced from former Beverly Hills 90210 actress Tori Spelling after only 15 months being wed. After their wedding, 15 months after their wedding, they got divorced. Okay, as we move along, in 1992, Benny Hill of the Benny Hill Show. Benny Hill died of a heart attack at the age of 68 years old. In 2002, singer Allan Dale of the Allan Dale Show dies at the age of 76. Allan Dale, I also remember playing in an Alan Freed movie too, as well. And women's and civil rights activist Dorothy Height died on this day in 2010 at the age of 98 years old. She was born March 24th, 1912 in Richmond, Virginia. In 2017, pop and soul singer Cuba Gooding Sr., and we already know Junior, the actor, but the senior, was singing for a group called The Main Ingredient, and he did his big hit, Everybody Plays a Fool, which was written by a good friend of mine, J.R. Bailey, who used to sing with the Cadillacs back in the 50s. Anyway, he died at the age of 72. And finally, actor Tom Lester died on this day in 2020 at the age of 81 years old, complications related to Parkinson's disease. He was born September 23rd in 1938 in Jackson, Mississippi. And that's this day in history. If you know anything that's happening on this day in history that I didn't mention, and you happen to know about, you got wind of, feel free to tell us about it. Feel free to do that. And of course, I will relay it to everyone else. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being along with us here on our show. And of course, the name of our show is called Talk Back Live. And I just want to say hello to all of you guys who are watching us live, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And as I said, for those of you who are watching, we have a little bit more time on the show. So please tag your friends. And those of you, again, who are watching us on Instagram, or I would say YouTube, just give me some feedback. And not only that, you can subscribe to us. And of course, that'll give you a chance to know when we come on the air live. And even if we post a video of some sort, and you'll get the chance to know when we're on live, and all you have to do is see the notification. And and for the rest of you who are watching us on Instagram, just keep the show percolating, keep the word percolating, tell your family and friends and let them know. And, you know, I always say to all of you who are watching us, if you rather not say anything and you just want to sit back and watch the show, that's okay. We would love to hear from you. I'd like to greet you all personally if you come out here. I would love to do that. And some people don't. And some people, for some reason, are shy. I know at one time I was, believe it or not. And you just want to lay back and watch the show, which is okay too. But you can get in touch with me as well without anyone even knowing it. Oh, yes, you can. You could either email me or you can call me. And if you have something to say in particular about the show, or you have any ideas or about the show, or you want to know more about the show, or whatever you want to know, even if you just want to say hi, and you can do that. I'll give you my email address first. Email address is frankallenprod@aol.com. That's frankallenprod@aol.com. Okay, you could also call me. All right. Now, Frank Allen Prod, let me just make sure that we're clear on something. When you email me, remember to spell the last name, Allan. That's an important detail, Allan, or you'll never reach me. It's Frank Allen Prod. Prod is Prod. That's short for productions. Frank Allen Prod@aol.com. That's Frank Allen Prod@aol.com. Or you can call 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. You can do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can leave a message, and if you need anyone to get back to you, relay that to us, and we'll have someone get back to you. And any questions that you may have. And if there's something or someone you would like to appear on the show, have us appear on the show, we're open. We're open for suggestions and ideas. And you can do that not only for suggestions and ideas, but if you want to just say hi, it's all there. So let me give you that email address once again. The email address is frankallenprod@aol.com. That's frankallenprod@aol.com. Telephone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. Would you believe the week goes by so quick? I don't know where it goes. All I know, it goes by quick. And I really don't like when days go by so quick or anything like that, because it gets me that older that quick. You know what I mean? And those of you who are young, stay as young as you can for as long as you can. Take my word for that. Okay. Okay, you heard about Fox. Okay, Fox News. Let's talk about Fox News. You already know that they were already in court already. You know that, right? You heard about that, right? Now, originally, they were supposed to get together on Monday, but the judge at that particular time said, "We're going to cancel, or we're going to push it, move it up to another day. We're going to move it up to, instead of Monday, we're going to move it up to Tuesday." And people were wondering. We didn't know. Everybody was wondering why. Why would the judge do something like that? Let's get this out of the way. And the reason why they did it, because he said they want to hear both sides of the story for a possibility of a settlement. So they all met. They reconvened on Tuesday. They met, and it didn't take long. It didn't take long. It was just that quick. Now, initially, this case was supposed to go on for maybe about 6 weeks or so, something like that. 6 weeks. I don't know, maybe longer than that. 6 months. Maybe I got it wrong. It's 6 weeks, 6 months? I think six weeks. I think it was supposed to go on for at least 6 weeks. But when they got in the courtroom on Tuesday, the word came down that initially Dominion, that's the voting system. Dominion was going to apply a lawsuit for $6.1 billion. That's what they're going to sue Fox for, $6.1 billion. So they came to an agreement. And so now Fox will be paying, be paying out $787.5 million. That's a lot of money still. That's a lot of money. I mean, he got off a little cheap. Rupert Murdoch got on the stand, and they were looking to see what kind of proof that he had, or whether what came down with his talent at spreading these lies. And but I guess they couldn't go on because they said, "Okay, I yield. Let's come up with this deal. I'm sorry, I got caught. I got caught with my pants down. So I'm going to pay you $787.5 million." All right. Now, this thing, I understand, is not over yet. I understand that this whole thing is not over yet. Well, you already know the story about Fox News, and you kind of wonder at this particular point because they're being hit in the pockets big time. Now, you kind of wonder at this particular point, these people at Fox, and I'm talking about, when I say these people at Fox, I'm talking about the talent. Are they going to tone that rhetoric down a little bit after this? It's going to be interesting. I don't know if I'll ever get to know that because I don't watch Fox News, but I'm pretty sure even if I don't watch Fox News, I'll get some kind of information. I will get some kind of information on what will go down with the talent happening right now. And Fox News at this particular time don't even want to get in touch with 345/66 Beast Incarnate. They kind of like ease that off a little bit. They don't want them live in the studio. I don't think they ever had them live in the studio. And if they did, it was probably, I never really watch it, but they probably had him like on split screen or something from his location in Mar-a-Lago or wherever he hangs out, and linked up, together on the air. But even with the phone calls, because he was always out there on the phones, but even with the phone calls, I know they kind of cooled that down. So we're going to have to see what happens. And I'm very interested to find out if they are going to proceed with what they were doing after all of this. And Rupert Murdoch, what is he, 92 years old, 93 years old, something like that, something of that nature, 92 years old. At that particular age, you might want to consider retirement. You want to probably consider retired like way earlier than that, but he manages to work. And I always say, hey, power to him. If you have the stamina and you want to work at that age, go on and do it. But you have to remember that at that age, you're not as sharp as you were when you were younger. And sometimes decisions may not be the right decisions, or you may do something on impulse that may hurt you later, or maybe not even think about it. But I kind of wonder, I always kind of wonder, Fox News, I always kind of wonder about Fox News. What's going to happen? What's going to happen later on down the road with these guys? Are they going to have a TV station? Are they going to change up? Are they going to change hands and make it like a legitimate station? Because Fox News, let's face it, none of those people on Fox News are actually journalists. They're talk show hosts. I guess you can call them talk show hosts. They're not journalists, and of course, as you already know, I don't have to mention to you, they're one-sided, conspiracy theorists and this and that. And it's mind-blowing because I always think to myself, is it going to actually become a legitimate station? Maybe wipe the slate clean. And if that happens, either the host, if they decide to want to keep them, because I've been in this business long enough to know that people will come in and snatch a TV or radio station right from under you. And the next thing you know, you're out the door. Because a lot of people have a tendency of buying up radio stations and TV stations and saying, we're not going to do what we did before. We're going to do something different. And I am wiping the slate clean, and I am going to bring a brand new staff of my own staff of people of my own choosing. They can do that. People can do that. They have the right to do that. Owners have a right to do that. And I ought to know because I was swept in situations like that. And I don't know of a person in this business in radio and TV who have not got swept up in a situation like that where they're working and they had to buy out their contract, or if their contract ran out, they didn't sign their contract because we are not going to re-sign you because we are wiping the slate clean and we're going to bring other people in. Now, if that were the case, if they did that, all of the people, as they call them, the stars of Fox, all right, and people like Tucker Carlson, people like who else do you have there? The Janine Perillo, right? People like Laura Ingraham. Can't forget about good old Laura Ingraham, Sean and Sean Hannity. All of these people with the mouths, the lies that spewed out each week on the show. What happens if Fox News decide to say, okay, no more, no more? All right. Where do you think those people are going to go? Now, I'll tell you one thing. I know one person that's not going to starve there for sure. And that would probably be, if anybody, it would probably be Tucker Carlson that probably wouldn't even starve. It probably wouldn't even faze him, because I understand this guy was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. So if by any chance that happens, I'm pretty sure he'll get into something else, even if it's not in broadcasting. He'll get into something else. All right. But in the meantime, where will they go? Well, I'll tell you another alternative. They could be reduced to a podcast. All right. They could be reduced to a podcast, because as for what I can see right now, I don't see another broadcast facility that's going to hire people like that. I don't see it. Maybe because Megyn Kelly lucked up when she left Fox News. I don't remember if they didn't renew her contract or she just left. I don't know what that was, so I'm not going to entertain that. But I do know when she left Fox News, she spent about 15 minutes at NBC. She had a live TV show there on NBC, and that didn't work. And that was the end of that. And now she's doing a podcast. She's reduced to a podcast. That's what she has. When there was another person that worked at Fox News. I don't know. He got fired. He got fired. Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly got fired from Fox. Remember that? And I think if I'm not mistaken, and I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong about it, but I believe it was because of sexual harassment. I may be wrong. And if I am, I apologize. I just want to put that out there right now. I don't want to spread out any false news. But if I'm wrong, I apologize and I retract it. Nevertheless, he was fired from the station, and then he started up a podcast which nobody knows about it. And so that's what's probably going to happen with the people at Fox if they're working today. If they decide to yank everyone out of there, Janine Perillo will probably have to go back to law, because I don't think any TV station would follow her, or they could create their own podcast. People create their own podcasts, but it's not TV anymore, folks. It's podcasts. A lot of us have podcasts. And a lot of us create our own podcasts, or maybe they have a corporation that works with them, that supplies them with the facilities to run a podcast. All right. But it's a podcast. No biggie. And so you got all of these people will be reduced to that. And look at Megyn Kelly. She's reduced to a podcast. Her podcast is like, I don't know. I think in her case, it's like sour grapes. You know, she talks about everyone, criticizes everyone and everything. I don't watch a show, but I've seen a couple of shows that I've seen of her. It was just like that. So anyway, Dominion is going to get that money, and there's more on the way, so stay tuned. There's more on the way with Fox News. Stay tuned. They're still talking about it. They are still talking about it. There's more on the way. And you can't forget, ladies and gentlemen, and it's so funny. I have to laugh. You can't forget the NRA convention that happened last weekend in South Dakota. In South Dakota, Governor Kristi Noem. Did you see her? What an idiot! And she went out and said her 2-year-old daughter has a rifle and a gun. Her 2-year-old daughter, you know, and 345/666 Beast Incarnate was out there. He did his lying and spewing all of his garbage out there. And these are the people that I'm targeting right now, the NRA. These are the people who don't care about the people that I mentioned early in the show who got shot. I haven't heard one person from the NRA come up and say anything about it. One person. This Kristi Noem, she's a governor from South Dakota. I'm spilling her, I'm throwing her out there. She said that her daughter, 2 years old, owns a gun. And I wonder, you know, how can you as a parent expose your child? No, she doesn't literally have a gun at 2 years old, of course not. But it's like money in the bank. I'm saving this gun for her because when she gets older, I'll have it for her. As if it's some kind of thing that they're putting away funding for college. Instead of putting a gun there, saving her, why don't you put some money there for her college funding? I'm going to talk more about that tomorrow on the coffee hour too. It's an interesting story. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am now going to give you all of those movies I talked to you about, all of those movies. We're going to get together with that. If you have plans this weekend, I'm pretty sure you do, but whenever you finish your plans, sometime during the weekend, you want to sit back, relax, and have a few beers or whatever and watch some movies. Okay, well, I have some movies I want to add to your bucket list to watch. All right, those Turner Classic Movies. Let's kick it off right now. Bonnie and Clyde from 1967, starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. And that's on Turner Classic Movies. You could catch that Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Here's one of the macabre that I like. I love this one. It used to scare everyone when it was first released. The Exorcist from 1973, Ellen Burstyn and Linda Blair. And that's on Turner Classic Movies. That's on Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And here's a classic by Sidney Poitier and Esther Anderson, A Warm December, back in 1973, which also is on Turner Classic Movies. And that's on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you don't have time to see it, DVR it, go to church, come back, it'll be there, and you can watch it at your own convenience. Here's a Superman flick. No, they did 3-part Supermans, right, for the movies with Christopher Reeve. Well, this is the first one, the original one, Superman from 1978, Christopher Reeve, and that's on Turner Classic Movie. That's Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you still love those superheroes, can't do Superman without Batman, right? Batman, 1989, Michael Keaton, Kim Basinger, and Jack Nicholson as the Joker. It's going to be a hot time in the old town tonight. Anyway, that's on Turner Classic Movie, and that's Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And if you desire, go to Turner Classic Movies and go through and scroll through the program guide. There may be more movies that you may like and see that I didn't mention, but these are only my picks of the week. And of course, you can check those out and other things that you can watch. Pay-per-view movies and free movies, they're all right there. Just go there. So let me say these movies one more time. You have Bonnie and Clyde, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. The Exorcist, Ellen Burstyn and Linda Blair. That's Saturday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. A Warm December, Sidney Poitier and Esther Anderson. That's at Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Superman with Christopher Reeve. That's Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And Batman Michael Keaton, Kim Basinger, and Jack Nicholson. That's Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I hope you enjoy these movies. And they'll be fun to watch. That's going to wrap it up for me, ladies and gentlemen. I enjoyed the show so much, but it's time for me to leave, get out of here. But I will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern for the coffee hour. And I hope that you will be here with us as well. Ryan Camp won't be here, but I guarantee you we'll have more sports for him. He has sports coming up. He'll be here for that. And the wonderful world of sports, DJ Pete 22 the hour. And he'll be here, of course, with information of entertainment and all of that, along with reciting all of those birthdays of people notoriety. Other than that, I'll be back here next week at 8 p.m. Eastern for more of Talk Back Live. But Brian will be back with me for Sports Update. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and we'll see you soon.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host Frank Allen. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.